Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
What is up, people, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode here at the Italian Grand Prix for round 13 of this first season. If you are new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you do need to go catch up with the rest of the series, there is a card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens. You'll find the whole entire playlist, and of course you'll also find the previous episode at the Belgian Grand Prix. But going into today's race, even though last time around I said that I wasn't going to do any more upgrades, we decided to do one more, and just deciding to upgrade the durability of our gearbox. We're suffering a little bit this season with gearbox wear, so I decided to do one upgrade on the durability of that, and that is going to be it. We're calling it a day on the research and development. No more research and development across the rest of the season. It's just going to be a case of saving our resource points and then being able to spend them at the start of next season. But jumping into the practice sessions, we still need to do these, and we still need to get as many resource points as we possibly can, of course, to spend later on in the season. So at the moment, 20th position after the first practice session, but we only did the one session there, the one activity doing the track acclimatization. One, because we had a sort of really damaged engine, which we were just doing just to get the track acclimatization done, and this is a power track, so we need to really set our best engines, otherwise we won't beat the target times with our cars. So here we go, doing the tyre wear management, done that one purple score, and we're also going to get a purple score just about for the fuel management, actually by quite a bit, as I lifted off so much as I came across the line. So there we go, 2 purple scores in this session already, thanks to the tyre management and the fuel management. Now jumping into the race strategy one, even though look at our engine there, really suffering now with the energy store and the MGUH, but still getting a purple score at the end of the day, and that was going to be it for practice 2. So 20th position at the moment, 125.755, but you know, target times, that doesn't really mean too much. It's just a case of getting the activities done and getting the resource points available for the rest of the season. Now jumping into practice 3, and this time doing the qualifying run. So down towards the line, what is the time going to be good enough for? It is going to be the target time, and it is also going to be the purple score as well, beating the target of 11th position and getting an extra 50 resource points added to the team. So that was it for free practice, and also it from the R&D test. P16 the end of the day in the qualifying run. Not exactly the best of lap times, but we will be using an even better engine in the qualifying session, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can bounce up further in the field. But that's it for the practice sessions. Let's head over to qualifying.
The pit lane will be open shortly, which means it's nearly time for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza.
It's qualifying time here at the Italian Grand Prix as we come around the final corner now to end our first lap in this session. Down towards the line, what is the lap time gonna be good enough for it? So 124.326. We know we can do better than that though. We should be doing a lot better than a 124.326. At the moment, it's not exactly the best lap times. We're watching a replay of what happened to Sebastian Vettel very early on in the first qualifying session. He is actually in first position, so it doesn't really matter too much for him, but he has a little bit of contact there with Carlos Sainz, putting him into a spin and off into the gravel. But coming around the final corner once again through the parabolica down towards the line. The lap time this time around is 5 tenths up, but it isn't an improvement on our position in the session. So at the moment, we do have to go for one more lap. We are not safe. As it stands, we are out of the qualifying session. But this time around, coming in towards the parabolica, 7 tenths up, 8 tenths up, but losing the back end a little bit on the exit of the parabolica, running it very, very deep into that corner. But I think it might just be enough. 7 tenths clear as we come across the line. What is the lap time good enough for in the qualifying session? Do we get into Q2? Yes, we do. We get into Q2 with P13, which is not too bad at all. So there we go, into Q2, P13 at the end of the day, and we are very happy about that. What can we do though in Q2? Can we get into the top 10 shootout? Well, let's wait and see.
Right, a little bit of an electrical problem at the moment. We're working on it now, so don't worry. We're going to get you out there as soon as possible.
So this is something new, never had this before, a fault unfortunately on our electrical systems, which means that we're out of the qualifying session for a good old 5 minutes, which is really annoying, and unfortunately it meant that we could only go for 2 laps sort of towards the midway stage of the session. I decided I'd just go out for these 2 laps and then go out for another 2 laps at the end, but unfortunately by the time we got back to the garage we just didn't have any time. But first lap in qualifying 2, that puts us up into P6 at the moment, which is pretty good, a 122.896, a very, very good lap here today. Can our second lap though be an improvement? We're just going to have to wait and see in this qualifying session. So far it's very similar. to our first lap time coming through the Parabolica. Again, very, very similar, but a great run through the Parabolica. Puts us about 3 tenths up on our previous best lap time. What is it going to be, though? It's going to be about 1:22.553. It doesn't move us up in the qualifying positions at the moment, but we're just going to have to wait and see whereabouts that puts us after the rest of the guys come back in and go and set that their lap times. We nearly hold up Hulkenberg and Hamilton, but managed to squeeze in between the middle of them. And unfortunately, there we are, down in 11th place after today's qualifying session, which does mean it confirms that we are out of the qualifying session, unfortunately. Down in P11, not making it into the top 10 shootout, but P11 is still a really, really good place to start. It does mean that we get a fresh choice of tyres, and we also, you know, it's the best of the rest. We don't quite make it into Q3, but we're the best out of the guys in Q2, which isn't too bad at all. So what can we do from P11? Can we get some decent points in today's race? We really need to bounce back after the disappointing races we have had in the past. But let's find out as we head over to the race for the Italian Grand Prix.
It's a very tight turn 1 here and a very big braking zone. It's a corner, Anthony Davidson, where we've seen a number of lap 1 incidents in the past.
As you say, it's a very small piece of track when you have more than just one car trying to go through it. The actual run down towards the chicane is quite wide, so off the start, we'll often see drivers running 2 or maybe 3 abreast as they come up towards the braking zone. Everyone wants to brake late, of course, to win track position, and that tends to be where we see a lot of contact. And you'll see the more experienced drivers kind of hang back a little into here and focus more on picking up the pieces from other people's incidents.
Before we get today's race underway, though, let's have a look at the starting grid for the Italian Grand Prix. And lining up in pole position is a Mercedes front row lockout with Valtteri Bottas first and Lewis Hamilton second. There's the 2 Ferrari guys of Kimi Räikkönen and Sebastian Vettel third and fourth. Perez is in fifth with Ricciardo sixth. There's Lance Stroll in 7th place. Esteban Ocon starts in 8th with Max Verstappen 9th, and Kevin Magnussen lines up in 10th. There's myself in 11th position here today. Felipe Massa in 12th. Danny Kvyat 13th. Roman Grosjean 14th. Nico Hulkenberg, my teammate, in 15th with Pascal Wehrlein 16th. Ericsson 17th. Fernando Alonso in 18th, and lining up right at the back of the field is Stoffel Van Dorn in 19th place, and Carlos Sainz way down in 20th position thanks to a penalty for the Toro Rosso man. So looking at today's race, we'll be hoping to get a really decent result starting from P11. It's not too bad at the end of the day. Like I say, I get a free set of tyres, a fresh set of tyres to run in today's race, and it just means we're going to have to work our way through the field, have a bit of fun battling with the other guys, and hopefully we can get maybe to around 6th place. You know, 6th place or 7th place is really the best that we can expect after battling with the likes of the Red Bulls and the Ferraris and the Mercedes, just going to be way off ahead in the distance. But that's going to be the race strategy for today, starting on a new set of super soft tyres and pitting for a set of softs on lap 13 or 14. And then we're just going to whack up, well, we're going to whack up the fuel load or whack it down. No, we're going to keep the fuel load the same. It's going to be nice and dry across the whole entire race. We don't have to worry about that too much. But without any further ado, let's head over to today's race. And here we are on the starting grid for the Italian Grand Prix. It's at 5 red lights. It's lights out. And away we go for this Italian Grand Prix. It's an okay start from myself. Magnussen got a great start ahead of me, and that sort of puts me in a bit of space of my own as we go down in towards turn 1. We're going to have a little look up the inside of all these guys. They all just move over to the left-hand side, so I'd say thank you very much. We could have had a look there on Lance Stroll around the outside, but we thought better of it. We didn't want to get pinned at the end of the day against the Williams drive, and we've moved up 1 position up into P10, but Magnussen going very slowly down in towards the Curva Grande, and here we are right on the back of Lance Stroll, going down in towards the second chicane, maybe diving up the inside of the Williams driver, diving up the inside of the Force India as well. Was not expecting to make that move, but somehow we've managed to get through cleanly up into P7 at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic, and now hunting down Daniel Ricciardo for P6. I don't think it's going to be possible to catch up to Daniel Ricciardo in today's race. You know, like I said at the beginning, I'm not expecting to battle with the likes of the Mercedes, the Ferrari, or the Red Bulls. But the Red Bulls, in terms of straight line speed, is very similar to our own cars. So maybe, just maybe, there is a chance to battle with Daniel Ricciardo in today's race. He's being held up at the moment by Esteban Ocon as we're watching this battle for third develop between Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. They go side by side down in towards turn 1. Of course, Lewis Hamilton starting in 2nd place, so he's lost out 2 positions to the 2 Ferrari guys. It's side by side still between the 2 of them as they go through the Parabolica down across the start-finish line to start the 2nd lap of today's race. And it looks like Lewis Hamilton has got the job done on his championship rival. Of course, Sebastian Vettel way out in front of all the other guys at this stage of the season. So Lewis Hamilton needs to get as far up the field as he possibly can if he wants to try and put in a title charge. He lost out a lot of points last time around at the Belgian Grand Prix, getting that DNF very early on. But now we're going to have a look at a replay of basically what a fantastic start I actually had. I actually had a really good start here today. Helped quite a lot by the drivers moving over to the left-hand side down towards turn 1, giving us such a huge gap to go for that overtake. So here we go on the right-hand side. Just see that gap develop. We weren't going to go for it until I think that was Kevin Magnussen ahead of us, just decided to move over to the left-hand side. And because he did that, I was like, thank you very much. I will take that position. And going through turn 2, unfortunately, it did mean that we only moved up 1 place, but Magnussen going very slowly in towards the Curva Grande, and then that puts us right behind Lance Stroll. Then we moved over to the left-hand side. We thought about maybe going towards the right, but by the time we got to the corner, we would have just got pinned there, and there was certainly a chance we could have had a collision going into the back of Sergio Perez or into the side of Lance Stroll. In the end, we went up the inside of Sergio Perez and got the job done, and then moved up into P7. So here's a replay of what happened to Sergio Perez down towards that corner. And just look out for the Renault. There it is, a slight little wheel bang between the two of us. So maybe it wasn't the cleanest of moves at the end of the day. To be fair, I wasn't expecting to brake so late into that corner compared to the other drivers, carrying a lot more speed, of course, because these cars are a lot heavier than they were in the qualifying session. Now, having a look at the replay on board with Fernando Alonso this time around, down in towards turn 1. So, what was the start like for the McLaren driver? Here he goes down in towards turn 1, brakes very slowly down in towards that corner, then speeds up, just like I had, a massive gap on the right-hand side, speeds up, gets the job done on quite a lot of drivers. A little bit of a tyre bang between him, and I think that is Danny Kvyat ahead of him on track at the moment. That's how Fernando Alonso moved off near enough the back of the field up into P13. So what a fantastic start there for the Spanish driver. But here we go, the battle for second place now. Lewis Hamilton, after overtaking Sebastian Vettel, is now going to have a little look on his teammate of Kimi Räikkönen. There they go, down in towards turn 1, side by side between the two drivers. But Kimi Räikkönen comes back at him through turn 2. It's still wheel to wheel between Kimi Räikkönen and Lewis Hamilton as they go through the Curva Grande. Still wheel to wheel, nothing separating these two drivers. The sparks flying behind them as they go down in towards the second chicane. Lewis Hamilton on the right-hand side of Kimi Räikkönen into the first corner, into the second part of the chicane, and it looks like Lewis Hamilton gets the job done finally on Kimi Räikkönen and moves up into second place. Up next now for Lewis Hamilton is his teammate, in fact, of Valtteri Bottas. So it'll be interesting to see whether Lewis Hamilton can get the job done on Valtteri Bottas or not, as we're watching this battle between Felipe Massa and I believe it is Max Verstappen down in towards the Parabolica, and Felipe Massa gets the job done, but then he locks up down into the corner, unfortunately there for Felipe Massa, locks up into the Parabolica and then just decides to stay still for some reason on the exit of the Parabolica. Not too sure why that was. Maybe because there were cars coming down in towards that corner. The yellow flags are still out down into the Parabolica, and finally Felipe Massa is underway once again. We're watching on board now with Kevin Magnussen. He's trying to go for the overtake on the Force India driver of Sergio Perez. Ahead of him, there's a huge engine blowout now for Kevin Magnussen in that Haas car, and that is really unfortunate news for Kevin Magnussen. The Haas have really struggled with reliability this season, whether it has been brakes, engine failures, or punches or stuff like that. They've had really bad luck this season, unfortunately, as we're watching this battle now for 5th place between Ocon, Ricciardo, and myself. As Ricciardo and Ocon go side by side down in towards Ascari. What we're going to do right now is just back off through that corner and then launch it out of Ascari to try and get the jump on Ocon and maybe on Daniel Ricciardo as well. Here we go, down in towards the Parabolica on the right-hand side by side between myself and Daniel Ricciardo. It looks like we might have got the job done, but Ricciardo brakes later than us in towards the final corner, goes around the outside. Because he's on the wider line, he has to back out of it, and we have a lot better straight line speed than that Red Bull down the start-finish line. It looks like we've got the job done on Daniel Ricciardo, but this is where Ocon will come back at us. He is so quick in a straight line, moves over to the left-hand side. It's going to be wheel to wheel now between myself and the Force India driver down in towards turn 1 and turn 2. We give him the space, he doesn't take it, and there we go, moving up into 5th position for this Italian Grand Prix. What a fantastic start we have had, starting in 11th place and now running in P5. I'm not too sure whether we will be able to catch up to the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Mercedes cars, but they're coming into pits at the moment here on lap 10. If they go for a 2-stop strategy here today, we may just have a chance, but we are very hopeful in thinking that, because we're going to be coming into the pits in a couple of laps time anyway, so I don't think they're going to go for that 2-stop strategy. I think what they're going for is for medium tyres all the way till the end, or some of them have started on softs and then they're going for medium tyres as well. So we're not really too sure what sort of strategy they're going for at the moment, but it's looking like they're going for the one-stop strategies. Here we are cutting ahead to the end of lap 11, and it looks like we're going to be coming into the pits for our own pit stop now. And Esteban Ocon looked like he was going to carry on there, but then decides very late on that he's going to dart into the pit lane. And let's get this race back on between myself and Esteban Ocon. Here we go, coming into the pit stop phase. So what is the time going to be from the Renault crew? We need to make sure that it is quicker than the Force India team. So here we go, getting the tyres on, going for a set of soft tyres all the way to the end of the race. It's a 2.6 second stop, which is good enough to beat the Force India crew. So there we go, getting ahead of Esteban Ocon. And whereabouts is this going to put us in the standing order? Just behind a Toro Rosso there, which I believe is Danny Kvyat. So it looks like we've come out in P9 at the moment, which should be, hopefully, back up to P5 after the sort of pit stops sort themselves up. We've got to sort of wait and see though, because Daniel Ricciardo came into the pits a couple of laps earlier than us, so he could be going for that one-stop strategy. Done the undercut and maybe got the job done. So we have a little look there up the inside of Danny Kvyat down in towards turn 1 in this battle for 8th position. Can we get the job done though on the Toro Rosso driver? We need to do it, as we're going to tuck into the slipstream now all the way through the Curva Grande, and we're going to maybe try down in towards the second chicane. So here we go, on the back of Danny Kvyat, moving over to the left-hand side, squeezing between him and the runoff area, down in towards the second chicane, up the inside, getting the job done. And there we go, a very simple maneuver on Danny Kvyat, who is on those older medium tyres. So that is why it was such a simple overtake on Danny Kvyat. Now cutting ahead to lap 15 now, on the back of Carlos Sainz. We run down in towards turn 1 once again, picking up that slipstream, picking up the DRS, and we're going to move over to the right hand side and make a fairly simple overtake there on Carlos Sainz, down in towards turn 1, tucking back over to the left hand side to get the optimal racing line through that corner. And there we go, job done, up into P7. And up next for us now is Daniel Ricciardo, and then I believe ahead of him is Roman Grosjean in today's race. So Ricciardo currently running in P6. He's on a set of super soft tyres, so I believe he is going for a two-stop strategy here, saying yes, he is. He's coming into the pits now here on lap 15. So Ricciardo into the pits for his second pit stop in today's race. He is going to be quick though on that set of soft tyres going to the end of the race. We do have to be aware of Ricciardo later on in the race, and it is Roman Grosjean ahead of us now in P5. So watching this battle, Sebastian Vettel looks like he's starting to pick up a bit of pace in this race. He's catching up to his teammate of Kimi Räikkönen. How many times, I've got to say this again and again, but how many times are we going to see these two drivers go wheel to wheel in this season? As Vettel sticks up the inside, I'm not really too sure whether that was Kimi Räikkönen letting off to let his teammate through, or whether he just made a mistake down in towards the Parabolica. It did look like he locked up, but that could have been just him getting out of the way for his better teammate. Of course, Sebastian Vettel is on to win the championship, and if Kimi Räikkönen helps him out, then it should be a fairly easy job for the Ferrari man. So we're cutting ahead to, well, this is the same lap, in fact, here on lap 17. Starts lap 18, coming across the line, and Roman Grosjean is into the pits now. So we have retaken our 5th place position, and also we have a nice comfortable lead at the moment over Esteban Ocon. And here we are watching on board this battle for the lead of the race. We've seen the two Ferraris go wheel to wheel. Can the two Mercedes do it cleanly as well? Here goes Lewis Hamilton on the back of Valtteri Bottas down towards Ascari at the second DRS zone. It's side by side between the Mercedes drivers. It looks like Lewis Hamilton though has got the job done, and I can tell you it is because there is a mechanical issue for the other Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. So when he looks so comfortable out in the lead of today's race, unfortunately a mechanical issue there for Valtteri Bottas has not only put him under pressure from his teammate of Lewis Hamilton, but it's also right now putting him under a lot of pressure from the two Ferrari guys as well. Sebastian Vettel has picked up a lot of pace very late on in today's race. He goes to the left-hand side of Valtteri Bottas down in towards Ascari. It's going to be a fairly simple move there for Sebastian Vettel, which it is. He gets the job done and moves up into P2. Now he will be trying to hunt down Lewis Hamilton in today's race. Of course, all three of those guys wanting to win this season's championship. You have Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen, with Sebastian Vettel leading the championship by such a long way. The yellow flag has come out here on lap 22. And I can only assume that is for Felipe Massa, who we are watching on board right now. Yes, it is. Felipe Massa, unfortunately, out of today's race, and the safety car has been deployed. So this is going to throw a sort of interesting strategy here today. It's good news because it does mean that we're going to catch back up to the Ferraris and the Mercedes. So maybe a dive bomb here or there, we may be able to get that overtake on maybe one of those four cars. But it's also going to put Esteban Ocon right on our tail. So it's putting us under a little bit of pressure from the guys behind us. We are running in a very comfortable P5 at the moment. You can see the standing orders on your left-hand side. So it's Lewis Hamilton who leads the way at the moment here on lap 25 of the Italian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel is in second at Ferrari's home Grand Prix. Bottas is in third with Raikkonen in fourth. That's myself in fifth with Esteban Ocon in sixth. Max Verstappen is in seventh with Sergio Perez eighth. Daniel Ricciardo in ninth. And my teammate at the moment is in the points, which is good news, of course, in this battle with Force India. But Force India doing a little bit better than us at this stage of the race. So we need Nico Hülkenberg to make a few overtakes or one of the Force India drivers to make a mistake in today's race. So fingers crossed something like that can happen. But we are ready to get today's race underway. So it looks like Lewis Hamilton has got the race underway once again, and we are green at the Italian Grand Prix. Racing gets underway once again, and Fernando Alonso pulls over to the left-hand side, lets us through, and that is us now trying to catch up to Kimi Raikkonen. Can we get the job done? It doesn't look like we're going to have anything down in towards turn 1 at the moment. We brake very late compared to the Ferrari man, locking up both front wheel tyres, but managing to make the corner as well. And I feel like the only opportunity we are going to get of overtaking any of those drivers is if they go wheel to wheel. Of course, Valtteri Bottas did have that problem earlier on. I'm not too sure whether he still has the problem in that Mercedes car. We'll just have to wait for confirmation on that one. But if Kimi Raikkonen can go for the overtake on Valtteri Bottas, then we might have a chance like we did when we overtook Ocon and Daniel Ricciardo at the very, very early stages of today's race. So here we are on the final lap of this Italian Grand Prix, and after 27 laps, the whole field is so close together, apart from Fernando Alonso, who is the only driver who is a lap down at the moment. Going through the first and second corners in towards the Curva Grande at the moment. Doesn't look like we're going to have any opportunities right now to overtake any of those Ferrari or Mercedes drivers. Of course, we would love to have another podium in this season, narrowly missing out at the Hungarian Grand Prix. That was probably our best opportunity so far this season. I reckon there will still be plenty of other opportunities though in this season. The field is so mixed up, and one problem for any of those four leaders, and there is a chance for anybody in the field to snatch that podium away from those guys. But on the run down in towards the sky, looks like we have a nice comfortable lead over Esteban Ocon at this stage of the race, which is really good news because we want to hold on to P5. We do not want to let the Force India driver through. One, because we're battling with him in the championship, and two, we're also battling with the Force Indias in the championship as well. But it has been plain sailing for this man, Lewis Hamilton. He had to make a few overtakes on the Ferraris and his teammate as well. But in terms of just, keeping his cool and getting through the corners, it's been a nice and simple race for Lewis Hamilton, who wins the Italian Grand Prix. Fantastic result for the Mercedes driver. And we're going to come home for a great P5 as well. What a result for myself. Started down in P11, coming home in P5. We can't get any better than that. So a really decent race at today's Italian Grand Prix. We saw a lot of AI battles and, of course, myself working my way through the field as well, starting in P11 and managing to finish in P5. What a brilliant result that was from myself. But Lewis Hamilton, he wins today's race with Sebastian Vettel finishing in second. Valtteri Bottas is down in third with Kimi Raikkonen in fourth. Then it was myself in P5 with Esteban Ocon just behind us in P6 with Max Verstappen finishing today's race in seventh. Sergio Perez is in eighth with Daniel Ricciardo ninth. For my teammate Nico Hülkenberg does get into the points here today with one single point. Roman Grosjean finished just outside in P11 with Danny Kvyat 12th and Lance Stroll in 13th. Then we had Carlos Sainz in 14th, Pascal Wehrlein 15th. Then it was Marcus Ericsson who finished in 16th place with Stoffel Van Dorn 17th and Fernando Alonso, the only driver to go one lap down in 18th place. And it was Felipe Massa and Kevin Magnussen who were the only drivers to DNF here today. Drivers' Championship then after 13 rounds of this season, and we have retaken that 7th position in the championship. Absolutely fantastic news, overtaking both Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez, but it is still very, very close between us three drivers. Only 2 points at this stage of the season separating myself and Esteban Ocon, and Sergio Perez is only 5 points behind us as well. So anything can happen amongst us three, and we just need to, for now, hold off those guys. We need to keep on scoring points, finishes, and hold off the two Force Indias across the rest of this season. finally taking a look at the Constructors' standings. Renault are still in P5 at the moment. We're doing a really good job of holding on to P5. I don't feel like Williams are going to come back at us across the rest of the season. It's going to have to take an incredible result for the Williams team in order to re-overtake us for 5th place. Unfortunately, it's not looking like at the moment that we can catch up to the Force India team for P4. P5 is still a great result for the team, but of course P4 would be even better. So fingers crossed we might get a few good results here and there and we can catch up to Force India, but it's just going to be, it might be a big old mountain to climb at this stage of the season, but there are still quite a lot of races left to go, about 7 races left to go, so there is still every opportunity at the moment. However, that brings today's episode to a close. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content, and don't forget to share this video with your friends, and also leave a comment down below what exactly you thought about today's race. But I'll see you next time at the Singapore Grand Prix, but until then, it's goodbye from me.